Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I previously had the opportunity to question the Minister on the performance of CRA after the Auditor General had released a report on her findings on the performance standard at CRA. And I think it's important to start this off by reading a couple fine points from her findings. And she starts off actually with a line about how the Taxpayer Bill of Rights states that callers have the right to complete, accurate, clear, and timely information. And I think that's kind of at the heart of the Auditor General's report. It's also at the heart of the experience that Canadians have had when dealing with CRA over the last number of years. The Canada Revenue Agency, interestingly enough, has the ability to adjust their own service standards. And it's interesting to note that in 2017, Canada Revenue Agency's service standard was to have 80% of calls answered by an agent within 2 minutes. Starting in 2019-2020 fiscal year, the agency lowered the standard to 65% of calls answered within 15 minutes. The number of complaints relating to the service provided by the contact centers increased by 145% in 2021-2022. So that's kind of at the heart of this issue here. They recognized that they couldn't keep up with the service, so rather than try to figure out how they could offer better service to Canadians, they just said, you know what, we're just going to lower the threshold and criteria that's required to say that we are offering better service to Canadians. And then they followed that up by providing even less service to Canadians, with the wait times being beyond unacceptable. There are, this past summer, there are people that they spend entire weeks trying to get a hold of CRA without being able to get through, having to call back in at the beginning of the day every day and just sit on hold and not ever get through. I just recently received an email. Actually, it was today, Mr. Speaker, an email from a lady. She spent months dealing with CRA because of an issue with CRA. Not anything that she did wrong, but something CRA did wrong. And she ended up having to go through the courts in order to be able to get this situation rectified. And the court sided with her and finally had this issue resolved. It shouldn't have to take going to court in order to get CRA to do their job properly. I had another case of an individual. We've been working with this person for over 4 years now, trying to settle an estate. They lost a loved one. And you know what the biggest holdup in that whole process was? CRA. Over 4 years to resolve an issue with them, and the issue is still unresolved. That's not acceptable, Mr. Speaker. That's the kind of problem that Canadians are routinely finding themselves faced with. And you know what CRA has gotten for that, Mr. Speaker? A 70% budget increase. A 70% budget increase for the absolutely abysmal, terrible service that Canadians have been receiving. It'd be great to see this government take responsibility. They've been giving us a word salad about how they're going to, there's a 100-day action plan for CRA to get their act together and provide better service for Canadians. Well, Mr. Speaker, as of right now, I mean, tax season obviously was back in April. We're at near the end of the calendar year here, only a couple months left. So of course, you know, they're going to say, wait times have improved. Well, let's just wait until next April when Canadians start filing taxes again and see what kind of delays, see if their 100-day action plan actually bared any fruit. Just wondering if the Minister or if the Parliamentary Secretary here is going to be willing to stand up today and guarantee that Canadians will receive better service standards than they received this last tax season.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Following the interventions by the member of Swift Current Grasslands Kindersley, I'm pleased to have the opportunity this evening to speak about the CRA's actions in response to the Auditor General's audit of its contact centres. First and foremost, let me see that the government accept the findings of the Auditor General and thanks her for her invaluable audit published October 21st, 2025. It is my understanding that the report is currently being studied at the PACP Committee, and as a matter of fact, both the Minister of Finance and Secretary of State for the CRA and financial institutions have preemptively volunteered to appear at committee to discuss this report and the important steps our government has already taken to improve service delivery of the CRA. With nearly 200 million service transactions annually, service delivery is essential to the agency's mandate, and while the CRA agents do exemplary work, it has become increasingly clear that service delivery is an issue facing many Canadians in their dealings with the agency. That's why the Minister of Finance and National Revenue and the Secretary of State for the CRA and financial institutions tasked the CRA with a 100-day plan to examine existing gaps and flaws and develop common-sense solutions to improve service delivery. This process began on September 2nd and will run until December 11th. The plan encompasses improvements in both the short and long term, and Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to have the opportunity to share with this House the measures currently underway at the agency, as well as the results achieved to date under this 100-day plan. First, the CRA has reallocated the number of call center and contact center representatives available, and as a result, the percentage of calls answered has exceeded the plan's target of 70%. Second, the agency is enhancing the self-service digital options, including optimizing its website, adding features to My Account function, and expanding AI-based chat support. Additionally, live chat support through My Account is now available from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Users with locked accounts can now regain access by re-registering, thus eliminating the need to call. Taxpayers with debts of $1,000 or more can now set up payments arrangements directly through My Account, bypassing the need to talk to a collections officer. The Gen I chat box on Canada.ca will soon be available to answer a broader range of questions by drawing from a vastly larger pool of CRA resources. When combined, Mr. Speaker, these measures are streamlining operations and making the CRA more nimble and efficient in responding to Canadians. The CRA is also improving the accuracy of responses provided by the contact centers. During the last fiscal year, the agency evaluated over 100,000 calls as part of this quality assurance program. Of these, 80% were related to specific taxpayer files. According to our results, these calls achieved an accuracy rate of 94%. We do, however, agree with the Auditor General's findings that the agency fully acknowledges that the remainder 20% of calls, which are related to general inquiries, still require improvement. To respond to audit findings, the CRA's quality assurance program is refocusing its evaluation criteria to emphasize the accuracy and completeness of information shared with callers. Evaluations will more effectively inform improvements, including updated training materials, revised procedures, and individualized coaching. Canadians trust the CRA, Mr. Speaker. They trust them to handle sensitive, personal financial information and to provide accurate and timely advance. We are reinforcing the trust through our 100-day plan, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Swift Current, Grasslands Kindersley.
Well, Mr. Speaker, if the target accuracy rate was 94%, the Auditor General would not have gone through the whole entire process of auditing it, the department. And she's found something completely opposite as when it comes to service standards. So I find it a little bit rich for the government to stand up here and say that it's 94% success rate when it was clearly not the case. It'd be nice if the member would get up and explain how there can be such a discrepancy between the Auditor General's findings and the findings of CRA themselves. Now, CRA is going to be looking at themselves. Of course, they're going to point to a certain amount of calls where they know that they got the information right, not look at a bigger body as the Auditor General did. So, Mr. Speaker, quite often when people are hit by this, the amount of times that I've had people come in who are single mothers and are about to lose their child tax benefit, or seniors who are at risk of losing their OAS or their CPP or have clawbacks to them, it is absolutely tremendous. And the government needs to get this right so that these vulnerable individuals do not suffer at the hands of the CRA.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, it is clear that the Government of Canada will continue to closely monitor the results of this plan in the short and longer term. We will oversee the overall success of this plan, which will be assessed based on improvements in clients' experience. Given the agency's commitment to improving this accuracy of responses provided by contact center representatives, we will be tracking the performance closely. Our expectation is clear, Mr. Speaker. The accuracy rate for general inquiries should be just as high as those related to specific taxpayer files. And finally, we will also monitor key indicators such as reductions in call volume, processing times, and the effectiveness of new solutions such as the platforms and AI tools to ensure better access to timely services for Canadians. Asking the agency to swiftly implement a 100-day plan was a decisive action by our government. Canadians deserve timely, accurate, and accessible service from the agency's contact centers, and its agency's responsibility to deliver it.